Welcome, everybody, to the Greatness Glory podcast. It's been a few weeks since I have recorded a podcast. And today I want to talk about some important stuff, maybe being a little bit more open about certain things and get rid of the filters. And the filters that usually sometimes when I want to talk about something, I ask myself, do I really talk about these things? Especially when it gets into more controversial, spiritual kind of stuff. And I've been very busy recently working on multiple businesses as well as my own personal well being and health and things like that. And I assume you listeners, you are two groups. The first group, you know what I'm talking about, especially the things that I want to talk about today, especially about recent world changes and future of this world and this reality and AI. And the other group, they're just impressed or pessimistic or, you know, criticizing the things that I say. So just wanted to put that out there to mention that this can apply to both of you because we have a small number of people who are, for some reason, they're more aware of certain layers of reality, things that is happening in this world. And sometimes these people also are seen to be a little bit crazy by the people who want to contain everything in the framework of limited knowledge of human being, mainstream, you know, science, mainstream medicine, mainstream this and that. But you know that as I talked about this, anytime that any great progress, like a quantum leap happened in any science, somebody came out and said something and was usually ridiculed, banned, or even persecuted that that person dared to say something and question the main narrative. I think this is a subject that I talked about it in the last episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it. See, for thousands of years, certain enlightened beings, saints, including Jesus or Babaji, also known as Hairakan Babaji, whose picture is behind me, they talked a lot about the future upcoming changes to the world. And these changes are mainly a change in human consciousness, but also changes in the way that we function, the way that we process our values, our direction, our economy, and so many other things. The main theme of these changes that is happening, you might even have heard about things they said, like the Mayan calendar. They said 2012 was end of the world, and it was highly misunderstood. It wasn't end of the world, it was end of one era. So these changes or end of one era is majorly about reduction and dying of lower self, ego based humanity, and transition to more of higher self. And I'm going to talk to you about it and explain what I mean by all this. This basically means that if our values were lower values, egoistic, everybody just thinking about me and myself and maybe my family only, or my group of people, or my religion, or my caste, and all those things. That's a more low vibe, you know, negative state of being, destructive state of being. Things that saints like Babaji talked about it was that this notion of only me and only mine and only my group of people is the main thing that is destroying this world. All the others enlightened beings, whether it was Buddha or Jesus or anybody else, they talked only about this, regardless of the fact that their words was later modified and manipulated and politicized, weaponized, and used for negative purposes also. Even the word of God or the scriptures or whatever else can be used for negative purpose. Even a positive thing can be used for negative purpose. That's very obvious. So they talked a lot about this transition, and they also warned us a lot about the fact that this transition can happen aggressively with a lot of destruction, or with less destruction and more gracefully. And they came to prepare us. And a lot of these beings are called avatars, like Jesus is considered an avatar, a divine incarnation, or Babaji, or Krishna, or Buddha, because the main message and the mission of avatars is to come and manifest to raise the state of humanity, to free humanity from darkness. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about important concept about avatars that says whenever that unrighteousness increase and righteousness decreases, I come to bring the humanity to a higher state. Now, this I is not the name or the body, whether it's Krishna or Babaji or any other name. God has no name or form, but it can manifest itself. That divine light, divine intelligence can manifest itself through any name and form. So don't misunderstand this. That when people argue about, oh, some people say Jesus is God, how can he be God? He's just like a human. This is the misunderstanding that's been going on. It's not that that person is God, it's that that person is manifestation of that divine intelligence, guiding principle, and light and energy that we call God, or the higher energy. So I don't want to get into that right now. If this transition has to happen, we have to promote more of higher values, humanity, compassion, forgiveness. And I am not perfect in this. Neither you are, probably, unless you're a saint or something. We need to practice more of this friendliness, forbearance, forgiveness, tolerance. And we need to also awaken to the reality that we should never, never follow a system without deeply contemplating and questioning it. And more than that, we should never follow a person like a religious leader. Doesn't matter if that person known to be God himself or some great religious or spiritual leader with millions of followers. We should never blindly follow anyone. And this brings me to this very important thing which I wanted to discuss. One of the most important things that we have to learn, if this world is going to be saved and a lot of bloodshed and wars and things like that to be prevented, is to think for ourselves. This is a message of a lot of enlightened beings. And if you go back to my previous podcast, I have talked about this a lot. This is the single most important thing that separates an ignorant person from an enlightened person or a saint. This is the thing that separates the person who gets stuck in life or in progress of science or learning or anything else versus the person who breaks through. Now, let's talk about AI a little bit. I can say with conviction that right now about less than 1% of world population understand what AI is, and that's even too much expectation. What is impact of AI in this change that I talked about, in this transition to a whole new world where everything is going to be changed to the extent that you can divide the history of the world to pre-AI and post-AI. And you probably think, oh, I know what's AI. It's a chat GPT and it can do things for me and get me the answers or edit my Excel file or write meetings. That's not even 1% of what AI is capable of. I can say that with the speed that AI is progressing, and in the Bible, in the Old Testament, I think it was in the book of Daniel, there is a passage about the speed of human beings acquiring knowledge will be exponentially increased. And we can see this, that if 50 years ago there was, for example, one invention a year, 10 years ago there's been like 100 a year. And in this 2026, maybe just like hundreds a week, especially with things like AI and technology. The AI is getting smarter every day. And there's going to be a lot of good things and a lot of potentially dangerous things with AI. Here's the thing. We are going towards a direction that even though AI can never be a conscious being like a human being, but it doesn't have to be conscious. It doesn't even matter. But we are going towards a direction that a digital machine can outperform any human being or all human beings all together on earth. And I'm not saying in all dimensions, let's say spiritual or intuitive things, that's the different topic. But in probably 99% of things that 99% of the world are dealing with, if an AI can do everything that a human being can do on a computer, I mean, every single thing that you can imagine, thousands of times, maybe millions of times faster and more accurate and effective. Recently, Cloud AI, they talked about their next upcoming AI model, Cloud Midas, and then they decided this AI is too smart that we're not going to release it right now because there is a lot of potential for abuse. Why? Because it was so smart that could find software bugs, issues, defects with softwares that's been used for 10 or 20 years. And even the most advanced programming teams did not see those issues in the software. And then they decided if we release this now, there's a lot of potential for abuse. People can use this to hack, or it's going to be a cybersecurity threat. And they said, we're just going to release it for 6 months or something to big software companies like Microsoft and all those companies, so they can patch their software first and immune their software. Then we're going to release it to public. And I'm not even sure about that. So this prediction, not a spiritual prediction, this prediction been around for a few years. From around the time of pandemic, it became even more famous that there's going to be another pandemic, like a cyber security pandemic. And there going to be some cyber attacks and things that can happen on mass level, government level, that can shut down the operations. And then there was all discussion about all those great reset and the economy is changing. There's going to be universal minimum income or whatever else, which I don't want to get into it. But here's the thing, whether all those things are exactly accurate and it's going to happen or not, whether there's going to be like a universal money system or crypto or all those things, these are all just a side effect of what's happening on a level of human consciousness. So I think AI, if it's going to function in its best way, it has to be free. It cannot be limited and perform in the level that we want it to. And still it needs the safeguards and all those things. But when it gets to that place that this is happening, what do you expect is going to happen? If a 7-year-old kid has the hacking power or programming power that 1000 advanced programmers don't have, that makes us all equal. And then also, I'm going to tell you, not everybody is going to be catching up with AI. It's going to take many years. So why am I talking about all these things? There's so much to talk about here and predict, which is even too much for me to imagine, but you can go and study for yourself. The thing is that everything is going to change. The businesses are going to change. The jobs are going to change. It's been predicted in so many ways, including in science of astrology and all those things, that till around year 2033 or so, there's going to be a lot of up and downs. And these up and downs, it's been talked about it in different ways. Like there are solar storms, that these solar storms are affecting human consciousness and emotions and your mind. And there hasn't been an era in last infinite number of years of human history, history, not his story, that there has been such an unstable energetically, mentally, socially era of changes. And this creates a lot of psychological instability and even physical disease. That's why the great beings, avatars and saints who predicted these things also, they mentioned this, that the only thing that's going to save you is your own spiritual practices and meditation and being deeply rooted in yourself. That's why I wrote Art of Balance, which is about the foundation of creating the balance and stability in your life. But that needs a lot of practice and prioritization. You need to prioritize your spirituality, your well-being, your inner harmony over your job or anything else. By the way, the Art of Balance book is available on Amazon, and you can even download a free audiobook version of it, which is AI generated, but very high quality, on my website, greatnessglory.com. And getting back to the subject, if all these things are going to happen, what is going to be the impact? The world is already unstable a lot. And you can see that you barely see anybody who is happy and stable. Everybody needs to be, addicted to something somehow, whether it's some sort of drug or porn or social media or some sort of crazy behavior or anything else. Like people cannot sit and relax and close their eyes and be happy anymore. It's like very, very few. Maybe people who are more away from the technology or rural people in some other parts of the world. So the message is, it's even more critical in this time and date that you need to practice creating this harmony and balance within your life. You should be using the principles of Art of Balance yesterday. I am working on, even though I am very, very occupied by so many things recently, I am working on creating more comprehensive versions and courses of art of balance in a way that is more interactive, and creating apps or AI systems that can help you accomplish more. And I'm also developing other products and services which can help you enormously to transition through this time. It's been said by so many of the great thinkers of this age also that if we don't create this balance and stability, it's like majority of people have to be on some sort of drug just to be sane. If you don't believe this, open your eyes and look into people's lives more, and you know, ask more questions and do more studies. This is not a negative warning for you. It's a wake up call to prioritize creating this balance on a body level, on a mind level, on an emotional level, on a diet level, on a sleep level, on sex level, on, you know, your external life level, on relationship, on boundaries, on work life balance, on all those things within yourself, or people who are, you know, connected to you, and your kids and all those things, because it's going to get very ugly. This is not what I'm saying just being pessimistic. This is that something that every person who is very conscious and aware of what's happening knows. And we can prevent a lot of it, but there's going to be a lot of up and downs. And people like Babaji, he has talked about this a lot, that there's going to be a great revolution. You know, we passed COVID, and COVID was nothing compared to what could happen later. And nothing about future is absolute, and it can change. That's why I don't think any prediction is absolute thing. And real psychics or astrologers or whatever, they all know that. It all depends on us. The fact that I'm talking about this right now, it means that you can receive this energy and use this mindset to change the direction of your life, and in results change the direction of humanity and the collective consciousness. So as I was saying, Babaji talked about this great revolution, and he said that there's going to be a lot of disasters on universal level, like things like COVID, you know, and they're predicting already there's going to be like a cyber attack pandemic, and it's going to go get so crazy. I even had a video that I recorded maybe plus 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's still on my YouTube, that I talked about what's going to happen with AI that's coming to my mind. Uh, at that time, it was more about the positive side of it. But I mentioned that we're going to get to a point that not only the intelligence of AI is going to be perfect, it's going to get to a point that it can get a body like human beings and do everything. So, what if it can happen? And if AI can do majority of things for us, even the things that you say, nah, that's not going to happen. I don't think the AI is going to take my job. If AI is going to do that, this is good thing or bad thing? I say it's a very, very good thing if you use it correctly. If I can free up myself, free up my time and mental space and energy, and delegate, let's say, 80% of my life to AI, especially when it comes to business and so many other things, you know, and have AI be like a perfect, super intelligent assistant that can handle a lot of things in my life, then the question comes, there are going to be two groups of people. The majority of people are going to be likely ruined by this. You know, 50 years ago or 100 years ago, or even before that, especially in the cultural and traditional things, I'm going to give you an example. People like the Vedic pundits or the, you know, Hindu priests, they memorized tens of thousands of pages of scriptures. In my traditional system of music, we have this Persian classical music system that consists of hundreds of different pieces of different scales of music, maybe depending on the categorization, 300 to 400 different, pieces. A teacher was memorized all of it with extreme level of details. In last 10, 20, 30 years, majority of people have not even memorized a phone number. And the less that we use our faculties of thinking and reasoning and memorizing and things like that, the weaker we become. So here is what I wanted to discuss. Probably this is the most important part of this thing. The abuse or the danger with AI that's going to happen is this. If we stop thinking and we stop questioning and trying to delegate our thinking and decision making to AI, because we get impressed and say, wow, this is such an intelligent thing, it's crazy. I cannot even think about it. And it's really intelligent, but it's not perfect. And say, okay, I shouldn't think anymore because AI proved to me that it knows any answer better than me. And we just give up our brains. This is gonna get even millions of times worse. That is where the real danger is. When you think that, okay, can AI take over humanity and maybe some people can control the AI and how it interacts with the human beings and control us even more. And this has happened. And there is still a lot of darkness in this world and negativity. And yes, there is a high potential for this abuse to happen. But that all depends on how you think and behave and your attitude. If you train yourself to think more critically, questioning things, and develop that faculty, we can prevent a lot of the abuse that can happen. We can prevent going to the wrong side of AI. But you have to start now. You have to start questioning every belief you have and the way that you do things. Stop just doing things the way that you've been told. Ramp up your creativity and intuition. Start studying more and thinking and questioning it. The more you use your brain, the more it gets better. So it's all about thinking better, questioning. And I hopefully am going to create a comprehensive tool that will help you question your thoughts and beliefs and achieve an enormous amount of clarity about your thoughts. Release your unconscious beliefs that are controlling your life, that are creating fears in your life, that prevent you from taking action and becoming more successful and becoming more peaceful and all those things. That is in planning, and I will let you know more about it. But if we use AI as a source of information and then pass it through our own greater AI, the human brain has a potential that no supercomputer has. But we don't know this because our knowledge is all limited to mainstream science. And we think, okay, just because 99.99999% of the world are not using the 100% of their brain, or they're not like a super genius or something like that, then it shouldn't even exist. But it exists. This is something that traditions like yoga extensively talk about it, that by awakening of your inner energies and kundalini and deep meditation and achieving a higher level of concentration, you can achieve or awaken your brain to a potential that can process and realize the whole cosmos. AI is going to be nothing in front of it. But can everybody get there? Very likely no, because nobody is dedicated except very few number of people. Nobody is dedicated to personal development and balance, as I talked about it, and living very cleanly and eating very clean and spending hours in doing practices for years and all those things. Majority of people, they're just happy if they can just, have some fun and just live by. So this is the greatest AI that God has created, the universe has given to us. And if we start using this more and more, we can prevent a lot of issues. If we have done this, a lot of wars and a lot of disasters and a lot of, discrimination, a lot of things that has happened in the history could have been prevented. But whenever we didn't use our brains properly and we just followed someone blindly, whether it was a religious leader or political leader, a lot of bad things happen most of the time. So we all need to become leaders. We all need to become creative. We all need to become geniuses. And the potency is already within us. Why don't you believe in it? That's the big issue here. If you believe that the genius is within you already, you will take action and you will do things that will transform your life and transform the world. You just have to believe everybody is divine. Everybody has the potential of being a Buddha, a Jesus. So that is the summary of my message, that whether AI is going to destroy humanity, well, AI is a neutral thing. Whether people who are controlling AI are going to destroy the humanity or make humanity transition to a place that there's gonna be likely very few cases that we're gonna experience disease. There's gonna be very few cases that we're gonna experience depression or financial issues or any type of limitations. It all depends on how much you think, how much you use your brain and develop your brain and reasoning and study and question things and come to conclusions for yourself. As a matter of fact, don't come to conclusion about anything. That's what I talked about. So let me correct myself. You study and reason and go deeper and deeper. There is no end for anything in terms of understanding. If you use your brain like that, we can become godlike, let's say. We can become alien like. We can become the aliens for other aliens that we call aliens. We can become more advanced than them, but it all depends on questioning and using your brain more. I want to end this podcast by a message that is known to be Babaji's last message, and it's very profound. You can read this for years and years and still go deeper with it. Love and serve all humanity. Help everyone. Be happy. Be courteous. Be a dynamo of irrepressible joy. Recognize God and goodness in every face. There is no saint without past and no sinner without future. Praise everyone. If you cannot praise someone, let him go out of your life. Be original. Be inventive. Be courageous. Take courage again and again. Do not imitate. Be strong. Be upright. Think with your own head. Be yourself. All perfection and every divine virtue are hidden within you. Reveal them to the world. Wisdom, too, is already within you. Let it shine forth. Let the Lord's grace set you free. Let your life be that of a rose. In silence, it speaks the language of fragrance. Haidakan Babaji, also known as Mahavatar Babaji. Thank you so much for listening.